You're watching France 24, and we're looking at that presidential election that's taking place in oil-rich Angola. More on that story now with Didier Péclard, senior lecturer at the Global Studies Institute at the University of Geneva. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
My first question is, we know that José Eduardo dos Santos, who's been president for 38 years, second longest reign in Africa, is not on the ballot, but he's still going to be the chair of the ruling MPLA party. Is he really going away?
He is and he isn't. Yeah, as you said, he's going to remain as president of the party, and being president of the party in a country where the borders between party, state and government are very, very much blurred and actually non-existent is an important position, obviously. And another reason why he will still be there indirectly is that before he's going out of power, he has been able to put a number of people from his immediate entourage, if you like, in very important positions, starting with his first daughter, Isabel dos Santos, who is very well known now as Africa's first woman billionaire and probably one of the richest women in Africa, who's been at the head of the Sonangol, the big oil company in Angola, since last year. His son, or one of his sons, is the director of the sovereign fund that was established in 2013, and other members of his family are in important position politically and economically. And another aspect is also some of his closest allies throughout those 38 years are still in very important positions in the security system, for instance, or in other functions within the party. So yeah, José Eduardo dos Santos somehow is still going to be there. The only thing that we don't really know about is his health. The most likely reason why he's decided to step down is that his health has been deteriorating for the last few months. He was away in Spain to be treated in a private clinic near Barcelona for about 2 months this spring. So exactly how ill he is, we don't really know. And that's, of course, an open question for the future.
You mentioned his daughter, who's the head of the state oil company, his son, the head of the sovereign wealth fund for Angola. How much clout do they have without their father?
Well, that's an interesting question it's difficult to say now. I mean, obviously the regime is there. It's well in place. It's been in place for a long time. And José Eduardo dos Santos has been very good over the past 38 years in on the one hand, establishing a very close circle of allies and in integrating members of his family into this close circle of allies. Recently, this has been a very recent move over the past maybe 5 years or 10 years at the most. And he's also been very good at making sure that people do not feel completely stable by changing positions, by removing people from power positions and then putting them back after a few years, as has been the case for his likely successor, João Lourenço. So things seem to be pretty stable so far. But we'll see. I mean, it's impossible to say now how much room for maneuver they will have as heir to dos Santos, or indirect heir to dos Santos, if you like.
So a firm lock on the political apparatus. The economy has been in a tailspin with 40% inflation, anemic growth. Some even say the country is in a recession. How can this be in the country that is the continent's second oil producer?
Well, that's precisely the reason why the economy is in such a bad shape at the moment, is that the Angolan economy has been built on oil and is very oil dependent, as is well known. The amazing growth, the amazing boom that the Angolan economy went through between 2002 at the end of the civil war and 2008-9 approximately was based only on oil. And now the downfall in oil prices has shown since 2013, 2014, or is how little the Angolan economy has been diversifying since for the last 2 decades, despite all the promises that were made by the government, despite all the big announcements that were made. Oil is still really the only or the main resource, and with oil prices down for a probably long time, it is a crucial issue in this election.
A crucial issue in the election. One issue that doesn't seem to come up much is the opposition. And the head of the opposition is the leader of the UNITA party, which had fought a long civil war with the ruling MPLA, but that's in the past. Is there a credible opposition that could grow in Angola?
The opposition has been growing over the past few years. I mean, first, UNITA has, was founded in 1966. It's got a long history. It's got a very solid social base, a historical social base that has been there since, well, the mid-70s, late 70s. And it didn't fare really well in the 2008 and 2012 election. We'll see how well it will fare this time. But it is, I mean, it has been growing also since the end of the war. The other very important opposition party is Casa CE, which is a coalition of different parties that was established just before the 2012 elections, and that managed to win 60% and 8 seats in the National Assembly, which for such a young party was quite an achievement. And it seems that the support for Casa CE has been growing over the past few years, especially among the youth in urban areas. So probably we'll see a rise in the number of votes for UNITA and Casa CE. Probably, because it's very difficult to tell. There were no real reliable opinion polls during the campaign, so it's very difficult to know what's going to what the result is going to be.
All right. So the start of the growth of an urban-based opposition movement is the civil war in the past for Angola.
It is, of course. Yeah, it is. I don't think there is any risk of going back to a civil war right now. Although technically in the Cabinda enclave there still is a sort of low-level insurgency going on, but there's no risk at the moment, at least as far as I can tell, of going back to a full-fledged civil war. But the civil war is still there in everybody's minds, of course, in the memories of people who went through those very difficult years, and people, everybody in Angola has lost at least one or two or several family members. So the war is still very much present, but present in a very strange way, in the sense that because the war ended with the clear military victory of the MPLA over UNITA in 2002, there has been no, for instance, negotiated settlement. There was no Truth and Reconciliation Commission or any commission of that kind. And in a sense, officially at least, the civil war in Angola has been cast into oblivion, if you like, by the ruling party. Although it's still there in people's minds, officially it's as if it was an absurdity. It was an absurd phase in the history of Angola. We don't want to talk about it. It's closed. Well, I'm not sure it is that close, because the social and historical divisions that created or that fueled the war are still very much present. And now one of the challenges for the new president will be to manage those divisions and make sure that they can be expressed on the political terrain and not on any other sort of violent-linked terrain.
And we'll be going later to Luanda for an update. Didier Peclar, Senior Lecturer at the Global Studies Institute at the University of Geneva. Many thanks for speaking with us here on France 24.
Thank you.